Hey everybody, I'm Yeka. I'm here with Rebecca, and she's here to share her success story. How are you doing today, Rebecca?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. And
Good.
let's just jump right in. So, how were you before you found out about carnivore? How was your health?
Um, Before carnivore, I had major mood disorders. I was on Adderall, Ambien, clonazepam. I had very bad chronic pain to the point that I was bedbound. Um, I had a lot of anxiety. I had depression. I was diagnosed with narcolepsy, insomnia, Um, and like I said, I ran into a lot of pain. So I was later diagnosed with fibromyalgia, crest scleroderma, which is a connective tissue disease. It causes a lot of scar tissue in my body. And I had bad fatigue, like chronic fatigue to the point, like I mentioned, I was bedbound. It wasn't just pain, but it was fatigue. I couldn't think straight. And I thought that I was going to lose my life. I was later diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease.
Wow.
Um, a lot of issues. My digestion was awful. I had diverticulitis, IBS, IBD, slow transit colon, and these are actual diagnoses. Like I was seeing GI doctors for years,
Wow.
and my health just kept compiling and getting worse and worse. So I finally started seeing some functional medicine doctors, and I found out about a lot of autoimmune issues. I found out that I had ulcerative colitis, celiac, like I said, the scleroderma. Um, so it was really, really bad. And I went through a lot to try to get better before I discovered carnivore. I got ozone treatments in New York City for the Lyme disease. I tried everything. I
Wow.
tried keto, and with keto, I was able to improve my mood for sure, and it did help with the fatigue. But I still had all these issues. I had major digestion issues, um, and I had major pain. My joints were inflamed. That's another thing. Ever since I was very young, I've had bad allergies, like hives the size of grapefruits on my legs. I had
Wow.
asthma. It was always something. And it was really, really rough because people didn't have answers. And the only answers they would give are, just band aids, medications, and it was not helping. So I was able to get off of my medications with keto, but I continued to feel like crap. And the autoimmune conditions continued to compile and just get worse and worse. Um, so I've been through a lot, and I'm so excited to see how much more I will continue to heal because I've bounced back so much.
That's awesome. And so, whenever you first started implementing carnivore, what did you eat and how did you start doing carnivore?
I started out, I needed to be fairly flexible in order to really commit to it. Like, I had a lot of people tell me just eat beef, salt, and water, and that's what you have to do the first 30 days, and I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. It was, I don't know if it was totally a mental block, but I needed to feel confident and comfortable if I was going to commit 100%. So I did allow stevia, and I did dairy. Like I was pounding down carnivore cheesecakes, Alfredo. I ate a lot of eggs. I just felt like eggs helped my mood a ton. Like I probably ate egg yolks every single day for like 3 weeks. And that's on top of all the meat and fat, extra fat. I ate really high fat when I started out. And for me, that wasn't too scary because I was severely underweight. I was 80 pounds and I was wasting away. And I could not gain weight to save my life. I
Hmm.
had a chronic C. diff infection, and even with keto, my gut was destroyed. So I ate freely, and that's pretty much what it looked like. A lot of fatty beef, a lot of extra fat, and I got creative.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did similar too when I first started. I allowed a lot of dairy and I did do stevia, but the sweetness cravings like went away within the first
Yes,
month. I didn't want it.
yes,
Yeah,
same here.
that's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And so did you come up with like did you come across any problems when you first started carnivore or did you just go ahead and start seeing results right away?
I saw results right away. The only problems that I had were in my head, and I got over them very quickly because I felt so much better. I started sleeping better immediately. I had less anxiety around food because it was like, this is in the animal kingdom. I don't have to worry. Like, I felt good and I felt confident that it was something that I could stick to. I had a lot of playroom, and but
Let's
I felt so much better. I had more mental clarity. And this is me coming from keto. I was doing legit keto deep state, and my ketones were actually lower doing carnivore. And I that kind of made me nervous, but it didn't matter. Like I was like, okay, well, I'm going to throw this out the window because I feel better. So I kept up with it, and my digestion has improved greatly. I'm healing my gut. My joints don't get swollen, and like my ankles would get so swollen I couldn't put them in my shoes. And
wow.
this is just a couple of months ago, over 6 months ago now, but it's not that long ago for me. And I have, I'm still healing my gut, but I don't have bloating. I don't have any indigestion. My colitis was so bad before that I was not able to eat without throwing up, and it was terrifying. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Um, the fatigue is, I don't even know what fatigue is anymore, to be completely honest. Um, it's amazing, and I'm gaining back so much of my personality. Also,
Yeah.
it's like the most freeing thing ever. And it's so funny because people are like, well, your diet is pretty restrictive, and it's like, you don't understand. Like, this is the first time I've ever felt free in my relationship with food. I've never second guessed it. I don't count anything, I don't track anything. I'm not worried about eating too much or too little. I don't i don't second guess it, and it's amazing.
That's awesome. And so all those things that, that the doctors, said you diagnosed you with. So have you gone back and gotten those checked
Yes, so
again?
that's actually a big part of the story. Right before I decided to commit to carnivore, I went into 3 emergency rooms because I was so underweight and I could not eat without throwing up, like I mentioned. And I told them, look, I get sick if you feed me this. They tested it. I got sick in front of them. And I finally said, I don't get sick when I eat all meat. And I, even in the hospitals, they were like, okay, we'll give you a chance. I ordered so many hard boiled eggs, butter, and like 5 entrees of meat in the hospital. And they're like, this girl is serious. Like, my blood sugars weren't up and down. I didn't get sick. I could eat extra, like at a surplus without suffering. And finally, I mean, they kept me there for 2 weeks just to help me put on a couple of pounds. And they were like, tell the dietitian you're eating this, but order this and actually eat your meat. They sent me home and they said, do your weird all meat diet. It works. And
Wow,
I've
that's awesome.
gone, I've gone back to my doctors, and they're amazed. But I have all the blood work to show it. They see my labs. All of my hormones are so much better. Um, my blood sugar it does not vary more than 5 points ever. It's
Wow.
amazing. Like, it's, I didn't think that was possible. And even before on keto, it would be at least varied 30 or 20 points. So
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that.
definitely, thank you for allowing me to share my journey.